Okay, we're going to start our second topic, algebraic techniques, okay? Most of the exercises come from Cambridge, but we supplement with a couple other ones. I've hopefully put in for printing, and hopefully you have it today, the booklet that has all the exercises in it. But you can always make reference on page 1. You can see what questions to do. So this is a little checklist for you at the top of page 1. Now let's start. Let's jump straight into it. Let's fill in the blanks. A pronumeral is a letter that is used to represent a number, or it could represent several numbers, in which case it's called a variable. Variable, if it can represent several numbers. Coefficient is the number that's written in front of any pronumerals. For example, in the term 3xy, 3 is the coefficient. X and Y are the pronumerals. Algebraic expressions are made up of terms. Terms consist of numbers and pronumerals combined by multiplication or division. The key thing is that every term is separated by a plus or a minus sign. Okay, so here I've circled the terms. Note whenever there's a plus or a minus, it signals the start of a new term. Notice that that plus or the minus starts the term, and there's always one term at the front. Okay, so there are 3 terms. 3x plus y and negative 5 or minus 5. The plus or minus sign at the beginning is included in the term. The coefficient of x is 3, the coefficient of y here, there's a hidden 1. Remember, whenever we write a number, there's always a hidden 1 in front. Negative 5 is what we call a constant term. Constant terms have no pronumeral. Alright, let's start question. State the number of terms. So there's 1 at the front, and then whenever we see a plus or a minus, we circle. That's 3 terms here. Whenever we see a plus or a minus, we circle. That'll be 4 terms. Coefficient of b is the number in front of b, so here it'd be positive 2 or just 2. Here there's a 1 hidden. Here there is no b term, so coefficient of b is 0. That's negative 6, and that'll be the coefficient of b there is negative 2/3, because it's negative 2/3 times b. What's the coefficient of xy? Well, here that'll be negative 2. What's the constant term? That's the term without any numbers, so it's without any letters, so it's negative 7. Substitution. Remember, with brackets, be careful when you're substituting in with negative numbers, be careful. Always substitute negative numbers with brackets. Show 2 lines, your substitution, where you put your numbers in and then your final answer. Okay, if you see the word evaluate, you usually see that word for these type of questions. It just means find the numerical value of. And remember to apply BODMAS as appropriate. So brackets first. Orders, which are powers and square roots. Second, division, multiplication, left to right. Addition, subtraction, left to right. Let's go. So this one here, evaluate each of the following. Now, noting that g is negative, I need to put brackets for g, particularly because it's squared. So that's negative 4 all squared. Okay, minus f squared, so minus 5 squared. So negative 4 all squared is negative 4 times negative 4, which is 16. Now this minus 5 squared, just careful here, so that's the same as negative 1 times 5 squared. Okay, so 5 squared is 25. You got to do that before you do the order before you do the multiplying. So that's 25 times negative 1, which is going to be negative 25. And if you evaluate that, that should be negative 9. Substituting here for the second one, that'll be 2/3. There's a times between the R and an open bracket. There's always a times. You got F minus G, which is 5 minus bracket negative 4. Okay, and then that's all divided by 3. Let's simplify this a little bit more. I'm going to look at inside the bracket first. If you're minusing a negative, it's the same as adding, so that's going to become 9 on 3. 2/3 of 9. Well, if you do 9 divide 3, you get 3, so it's going to be 2 times 3, which is 6 on 3, which is 2. So the answer is 2. Could I have put the whole thing in my calculator? Yes, but sometimes it's just quick to do it in your head. Alright, you might want to pause the video, give yourself a minute to try and work out if these are pluses, minus, times, or divides, or how about, let's not do that, let's just get into it. So see if you can quickly write them out, and I'll quickly write them out in silence and then you can check. Question is division. Alright, you can have a quick check of your answers. Let's move on. Convert each statement to an algebraic expression. If you double something, it's timesing by 2. So double A is 2A. It says 2 less than double A. Be very careful when you're minusing. Order is very important here. Okay, because it says less than, it's telling us a starting point. If ever you struggle with algebra, I always go to numbers. So if it's 2 less than, I'm going to write a random thing, 10. What's 2 less than 10? Well, that's 10 take away 2. It's 8, right? So we're starting from the thing at the back. So less than double A, we're starting from 2A, and then we're taking away 2 from that. Be careful, order is important. If you wrote 2 minus 2A, that would be wrong. Okay, next one. 1/3 of the product of G and H. 1/3 of, meaning times. Product of G and H. Product also means times. And you can write that simply as GH on 3. N multiplied by 3, then subtract 5. Now when we multiply n times 3, the way we'd write that is we write the number in front, the letter at the back, and we hide the times, right? So it's 3n. Then we're subtracting 5. So to the answer of 3n, we're subtracting 5. Notice this is a different order to part A based on the different wording. Alright, D looks very similar, but the order's kind of been switched around a bit. So n subtract 5, then multiply that by 3. If I want to multiply this by 3, I need to multiply the whole thing by 3. So I'm going to put the n minus 5 in brackets to say do that first. And then I'm going to multiply the whole thing by 3 by putting a 3 out the front. And there's a hidden times there that you don't need to write. N divide 2, add 7. N add 7, then divide by 2. You can see the difference there. The order makes a difference. How many hours in 180 minutes? We'll divide by 60. It's 3 hours. What about if it's T minutes? Well, we follow the same pattern here. We divide by 60. And division in algebra we write as a fraction, okay, which we would have seen in the previous example, but I didn't note. Question 4. Write an expression for each statement. The cost in dollars. N apples at 50 cents each. Now 50 cents is the same as $0.5. And there's n apples, so I just need to multiply 0.5 times n, or you can also write 0.5 is a half, so you could write n over 2, or a half of n. Number of meters in h kilometers. Well, in 1 kilometer there's 1,000 meters, in 2 kilometers there's 2,000 meters. What are we doing? We're timesing by 1,000, and so it'd be 1,000 times h, and that would be in meters. The change in dollars from 72, so we pay after buying W tickets at $12 each. Okay, so the change, we're assuming that W is not bigger than 6, or even 6 you would get $0 change. You can't have negative change, so W can't be bigger than 6. But the key thing is that you'll have your $72 and you got to minus, if W tickets are $12 each, that'll be 12W, okay? So if W is 0, you would get $72 change. If W is 1, you would get $60 change. So if you buy 1 ticket, you'd get $60 change. That seems to work out. Okay, that's how you do that question. All right, get on and do 2A. It's a review exercise. It's pretty easy. See you in the next video.